discuss, but yes, they are cost effective, better alternative to burnt clips, and because of the hollowness, they give you a better insulation also, has small dead load, and high speed of construction can be achieved when you are, because you see that good finish, and you, and lesser use of cement, etc., is basically their another advantages while using the hollow concrete bricks. Rice as cash can also be used, because India is the largest producer of this white rice, contributing to about 20% of the world's total this thing. So we can use this rice as cash into this thing. I think rice as, we have used the rices as a fiber also, and in the concrete also, fly ash from the rices has been used, because it contains a highly siliceous material that can be used as an admixture in the concrete if rices is burnt in a specific manner. You get the proper properties, and some of the materials can be used this thing. You can then, and this, there is another material available, the calcium silicate plaster. So basically this silicate refractories are usually derived from the calcium silicate, and Portland cement are also based on the calcium silicate only. So these silicate plasters are economical, eco-friendly, produces less wastage, have wider use, and give a smart finish and less energy consuming. So they are safe in handling and using, and they do not need any skilled labor. Fast drying, durability, and other properties are associated with this particular type of a material. Then you have the fiber reinforced clay plaster. It can be achieved by sticking the properties of reinforcement with the fibers. So many times that cracks, etc., even you can use it for the waterproofing also. This thing, fiber reinforcement clay plaster, can be used for this thing, because it creates and it controls the cracking due to shrinkage and thermal movements, and can withstand the movements of the substrata also. So basically, it is another material which is which can be used, and which can be this thing. So this is the, I think, bamboo used in the roof, this thing. Then micro concrete roofing tiles, they are again have been produced by mix of the cement, sand, fine stone, coarse aggregate, and the water, and any color can be given to this particular type of a files, and they are aesthetically, they are good to look, more durable, and inexpensive, for almost good for the sloping roofs. So then you can use something for walls, etc. Basically, you can think of this thing, some sorts of materials for walls, roofs, beams and columns, precast materials, like I think we will be discussing later, but I am just listing them here only. Plaster, doors and windows, flooring, etc. can be used, and this particular part is devoted first to the low-cost materials only. So then we will be discussing something on the greener part also, no more materials. So foundation, you can use the rubber, stone masonry, walling, solid concrete blocks, clay bricks, RCC plinth band for the earthquake resistance, etc. Floor, RCC floor slab using clay bricks as the fillers, RCC slab for the second floor, IPCR flooring, door windows, precast door windows, square polymer door shutters, steel window shutters, clay jalis for the ventilators, and you can use the external cement plaster for the walls, and whitewashing on the internal walls, waterproofing of the cement paints on the internal wall, and precast ferro cement lofts, shelves, and chhajars, etc. can be used. So one, our need of alternative or say eco-friendly material is that we use them for our affordable housings, which we may call them as the low-cost housing also. So for them, these type of materials are required, where I think we are using some natural materials available from the nature, or we are using we are modifying the properties of the existing material by adding certain things, and providing the better sort of this thing. But but at the same time, we are looking into our looking into materials which we can call as a green materials or eco-friendly materials, because of the environmental issues. And if you see that the construction industry, globally accounts for 7% of the employment in the world, 50% of the natural resources usage, and 40% of the energy consumption. And the global level, basically, this and we are using this 40% of the raw stone, 20% of the wood, and 60% of the water. And our construction sector accounts for 22% of the CO2 emission, which is a carbon dioxide emissions. And carbon footprint, as you know, is a major concern nowadays. So, and if we are looking into our, say, a growth of the buildings in the Indian thing, so you see that we in 2010 the requirement was 659 million square meter area, and which is expected by the 2020-30, this is about 1900 million square meter. And but seeing that what is the current is about 34% we have achieved the need, and 66% is yet to be built. So that is why we are looking to some advanced construction technologies, advanced construction techniques, and also materials which are, say, green, as well as which give you a better performance in the long run. So that is why we are looking for the green materials, because our construction industry is responsible for emission of greenhouse gases due to energy used for raw materials during its extraction, during its transportation, during construction, during operation, during maintenance, and demolition also is the one such issues where I think we are contributing to the greenhouse gases. So most of the energy is consumed by the construction sector, and buildings are responsible for 50% of the raw material consumption. And waste produced and construction industry contributes up to 50% of the waste in the landfills. Maybe cement plants, maybe other also, all including. So our 50% contribution is waste is from our construction sector only. And if you see the energy consumption pattern in the development of the building materials, so it was initially almost it was zero energy, because we are using the natural materials for our construction activities. In the middle centuries, maybe up to 880, when we started using this burnt clay bricks, lime, etc. So basically, we have some sort of a medium sort of a thinking. But now we are using the highly energy intensive materials like cement, aluminum, steel, plastics, etc. into construction materials, and those there, I think the energy consumption is very, very high, and our carbon footprint is also high due to this particular purpose only. So that is why there is a need to use the green material. So how to assess the greenness of a building material is, there are two aspects. One is the embodied energy, which is embodied energy is the total energy required for extraction, processing, manufacturing, and delivery of the building materials to the construction site. And then you have the life cycle assessment. बोलो, मैं क्लास में हूँ, बाद में बात करना, कभी मैं क्लास में हूँ, ठीक? So this is that. So embodied energy we are looking for. Embodied energy is basically the energy used during extraction, processing, manufacturing, and delivery of the building materials to the building site. So this we are trying to reduce in green materials, and also we are life cycle assessment. So it evaluates all the impacts over the whole life of a material or element. It includes energy used during operation and disposal as well. So this is what we are still looking into a life cycle of a material. So we acquire the raw material, we manufacture that particular product, it goes to the construction site, and some building in construction, it is used in the construction. Then then there is a periodic and regular operation maintenance, goes for renovation, or if it is not possible, then it goes for demolition. It can be reused, or if not, it again go to the waste reclamation site and to the nature. So this particular life cycle is this thing. So we are trying to improve this particular aspect by using the green materials, like here also. So up to this good product, used in construction, reuse is there, and then I think we can make this particular thing. So we have to optimize the life cycle cost. And life cycle cost optimization means that, okay, we have to have the strategies for the pre-building stage, building stage, and post-building stage. In pre-building stage, what we are looking for is, we are trying to look the appropriate design, good design, and sustainable materials and products. Construction, maybe this thing, during this thing, so minimize the site impact, use non-toxic construction materials and products, and have a better waste management. Then post-building, you have the adaptive reuse of an existing building, reusing building materials and components, and recycling the materials. So once we are talking about, say, green materials, if I think we all of us are aware of this green rating system also, where the a building or any structure is rated as a green structure if if you acquire at certain points with respect to your building envelope, or you can say site selection, your energy efficiency, your water efficiency, your indoor air quality. So there are 5 factors which you are looking for in a green construction. So similarly, for when we are using any building blocks where we have this material efficiency, so material efficiency means that we are using the green building materials, and that building materials should have the advantages of having energy efficiency, water conservation, provides you good air quality, affordability, and durability. So these 5 factors we govern the basically this classification of a green building material as a green material. So you have low embodied energy material, you have less wastage during construction, you have reuse of existing building material, you have materials with recycled content and are recyclable. You use low VOC materials, volatile organic content, which is basically important in terms of when you are using the paints or your other, say, finishes into the material. So there you are using this VOC so as to have ease of application. So basically, but it is a harmful to your environment. So basically, we are looking into any sort of a paints, etc., which are having the low VOC content. Then materials that are natural or in harmony with the nature, with the environment. Local materials, because transportation cost will be less. And then rapidly renewable material, like you said, bamboo is a renewable material basically. So that is what we are looking a product which can satisfy all or at least few of these particular parameters to be classified as a green building material. So that is what in the building alternative building technologies we are looking that we should have a energy conservation. We should minimize the use of high energy materials like your bricks. You see that they are burnt at a very high temperature. Just a minute, give me 1 minute. हाँ जी बलकार जी, मैं भी हाँ नहीं फिर मेरी बात नहीं एक्चुअली, मैं कल भी लेट आया तो अभी मैं लेक्चर में हूँ। अब भेज दो अगर उनको तो फिर देख लेंगे, या फिर मैं बात करके बताता हूँ 11 बजे, कोई और टाइम मिलता है मैं देता हूँ। फिर 11:30 है ना, मैं आपको 11 बजे बताता हूँ अभी बात करके। अभी मेरी भी क्लास चल रही है। ठीक है तो कोई मैं 11 बजे बताता हूँ आपको, 11 बजे बताता हूँ। Sorry. So minimize the transportation, minimize the local use of material, decentralize production and maximum use of the local skills. Then utilization of the industrial and mine waste for the production of building materials, and recycle of the building waste and use of the renewable energy sources. So recently we have say utilized this sludge from the electroplating waste using some polymers to develop the paver blocks or your paver tiles, or even bricks also. So there we have not used any sort of energy. Very simply, we have just polymer based binder. We basically investigated, and using that binder, we developed a sort of a and these paver blocks and all this, which are if you compare that its look, its appearance, or then properties, even say load carrying capacity, crushing load, or water absorption, or other things. So it is much better product. So when we basically we got it patented, when we prepared at that time that the polymer which we used was got from that I think India is getting from the China. So at that time it was, the price was almost very less. But now that price has gone almost 3 times, so cost of production has gone. So when we initially we were using it, we developed it, the cost was almost same as the concrete paver block. But now because of the cost of the polymer going up, the cost has gone little higher. But then at the same time, we have used this waste sludge, which is otherwise difficult to dispose of, particularly from the hazardous industry, like where we are using that, where the sludge is from the electroplating waste. And one of the issues with the using this waste sludge from the electroplating waste plant is that they whatever you make, so once you dissolve them, so they go into your they leach out again. So maybe if you dump them, because at any time future in time, if you dump them, so they will basically have sort of a chromium nickel will be released basically into your groundwater or maybe somewhere else. So not allowed basically that way. But this we should, the leaching is almost, when after breaking them and we carried out the leaching test, so we found it is almost no leaching is taking place, because polymer they basically attracted that sort of this thing, and leaching is not taking place. So that is what we are looking for, this type of materials. So so component wise, basically just we have this materials which are used in structure, like your structural properties are there. We're looking like your cement, concrete, steels. In non-structural, we are having this bricks, glazing, facade treatment, etc. In the interiors, we are using this like your sub-assembly, false ceiling, partitions, flooring, doors, windows, frames, and paints in sort of that area. So structural materials. You see that when we are talking about, say, like your bricks, your cement, so using brick is using lot of fertile site, and it's consuming lot of energy also for this one. Cement, again, it is using the raw materials, limestone, gypsum oxides, and high energy is needed here for its production also. Similarly, structure steel also, we using iron ore, etc. So it is also highly energy intensive. Coarse aggregate, fine aggregate also, basically we are I think we are all aware nowadays that how difficult it is to get this sand, etc. So again, also a lot of energy is being utilized in terms of when we are using making them for this purpose also. And if you see the greenhouse gas emission from that from our this thing, so it is very high. It is still old data, but you can still find that contribution of a cement plant for generating the greenhouse gases is very high. So that is why we are using that technologies where I think we can have this pre-stressed slabs, hollow floors or roof slabs, precast reinforced bricks, tile panels, micro concrete roofing, composite columns, reinforced grouted brick masonry, and precast concrete blocks for structural materials. This is what basically, if you are having this pre-stress and precast floor U-beams and this foundation piles, etc. So they are used. They can precast by the precast technology at the in one location, and then they are transported to the site, and you can have this construction yard near to your construction site only. So this is what you can. So this is a post-tension slab construction. I think you can use this particular construction technique also for this particular type of materials, and that can be that has got many advantages. Otherwise, when you are using this post-tension slab, you can have a lesser number of columns, more as a span ratio of the slab, etc. So that certain advantages are associated with the using this type of materials. This is the hollow concrete floor slabs, precast slabs, which you can use them, so give you a better sort of this thing and provide you a good insulation also. Heat resistant is there. So thermal conductivity is better. So there, I think we are using, if you use this hollow concrete floor slabs, so into our construction, so have a sort of a better performance. We already discussed fly ash. So because fly ash has the pozzolanic properties, you can use the fly ash into the construction. So that is what the advantages is, because we are looking for reduced embodied energy. So it gives you that. It increases the workability of the concrete. It provides better protection to the steel against corrosion. Here you can see, make this PPC. You can make the structural concrete. You can make the ready mixed fly ash concrete. You can create the cellular lightweight concrete, autoclave irritated concrete blocks. Nowadays, you find there are a lot of usage in the construction, fly ash bricks, and can be used in the mortar also. So a lot of applications of this fly ash into our construction material is there. For non-structural materials, like you have this clay fired bricks, where I think the disadvantages of using clay fired bricks are well known to us. It leads to depletion of fertile agricultural soil, consumes lot of coal and biomass. So look for some other sort of say walling materials, like your mud walling systems, adobe walling system, then compressed earth blocks, rat trap masonry, traditional. This is a technology, basically construction technique, rat trap dressing, traditional stone masonry, hollow perforated bricks. Yes. Then stone masonry, you can use fly ash bricks, you can use precast load bearing concrete blocks, lightweight concrete blocks, composite ferrocement walling, and aerated autoclave concrete blocks, and cellular concrete blocks. So there are many alternatives available to this your conventional clay bricks, and if you use them, these clay bricks, if you use them, I think you are getting the many advantages, because low energy low is there, and then like your better thermal performance, better your water resistivity is there. Like your, if you are using the earth this autoclaved irritated concrete blocks, they are very light in weight. Then strength wise, whatever is required strength is there, you can achieve them, because we are not using them as a sort of for load bearing walls, but up to 2-story, I think even you can use them for load bearing walls also. You see, there are I have seen particular some of the houses being constructed 2-story with this thing. Then your panels are available. Basically, the ferrocement panels are available, I think, which are useful, basically lightweight, made from this irritated concrete only. So those panels, they can be transported easily also, because they are light in weight, and they can to the areas like Leh, Ladakh, etc., and gives you better, say, performance in that with respect to this thermal, or say temperature, etc., can be better as compared to other things. So that is why this particular material is very, very useful one. So energy consumption wise, again, I think because we are talking about the embodied energy of various materials, because whenever I think you are go for a green material also, so you have to see that, okay, its energy consumption during its costing or during manufacturing should be low. So basically, I think total energy, whatever the constructed is there, so you can see that different materials have different sort of this thing. So clay bricks have the highest and earth wall is the lowest. So I think we have to see that, keep in mind this particular thing also. This is what the fly ash brick, this thing. This is the mud bricks being used for the walling. Hollow blocks we have already discussed. This is that irritated concrete blocks. This is lightweight and manufactured in a sort of a controlled environment. The plants to manufacture this irrigated concrete is almost fully automated plants in India, and you have basically that proper mixing of the material by the by your this microprocessor based, basically, where you are sitting at a control, giving the command how much material is there exactly, then you are mixing them, then allowing them in the molds for 24 hours, and then you cut them according to their size, because the molds for this thing is very big, so they do have a sort of a cutters. It is not about the thread only. You pass the thread at that time, they are very light in weight, but yes, just the particles are bound together, and then accelerated curing, steam curing is done. And after steam curing, so they are basically sent directly to the site. So whatever the waste is there, that is again recycled. Almost zero waste during their manufacturing process also, and they are constructed as per order. So basically, that if a construction site has ordered, say, for example, say 1 lakh units, so basically they will just have a place to basically cost this 1 lakh units and directly transport to the site. No storage, nothing else. So directly transfer to the site. So so depending upon say their order, so they are the things are working and all that also. So this is one, and have many advantages, because this one particular block is almost equivalent to 16 bricks, but light in weight. The density is almost 500, 600, and as compared to your say brick, which is about almost 1/3 of that. So lighter in weight. So ultimately, when you are constructing a building and all that also, you are designing this thing, it is having a reduced load also. So so design becomes economical in the long run, particularly for higher story buildings, for say 20, 30 story buildings. So these particular blocks are very good. And in case of earthquake, basically this is a very light in weight. So if anything happens also, if it falls on your this thing, so nothing will happen, no damage will be happen to this thing. So that advantage is also there while using this particular sort of material. So this is the stone masonry for reducing the embodied energy. The particular construction, this thing only technique. This is the house constructed directly from the adobe bricks only. Then, and coming to the say next category of material is the interior materials, where we are looking for sub-assembly, flooring, doors, windows, frames, and paints. Like this sort of a material, ceilings. Basically, the usage of these interior materials, your internal air quality gets affected. I think we are looking, because outside if we go, I think nowadays there is a display that, okay, this is the PM 2.5, this is your NOx level, this is your SOx level, this is your temperature, etc. But inside you don't bother. Inside your air quality may be much worse as compared to the outside quality. But we are not seeing that also, so we are not bothered also. But then one thing is there, because of the toxicity of these materials, that we are suffering the like what we call is the sick building syndrome. So we don't feel very happy and very this thing. I think nowadays, if you are you can yourself, if you are in a very well ventilated place, you will feel much happy living there. But if you are using in a very enclosed place, no circulation of air is there, so you will feel some suffocated there. So that is the thing basically. So into this. So basically, for internal materials, we are looking the features like the raw materials used for manufacturing should be renewable. Raw materials should have minimum detrimental effect on the environment. Manufacturing process should have minimum detrimental effect on the environment in terms of land, water pollution, damage to ecosystem. Waste from manufacturing process should be reused as a raw material in another product. Raw material and the final product should be non-toxic in nature. Product should be durable and should require low maintenance, and product should be regionally available. So things to be kept in mind while choosing the interior materials are that in place of wood, composite wood products like block boards, timber cover, plywood, veneered panels, particle boards, MDF board, etc. should be used, which are made from recycled wood scrap and waste wood from the various industries. Then products from rapidly renewable small trees like rubber, bamboo, eucalyptus, etc. should be used. Products which use various industrial waste such as wood waste, agricultural waste, use of natural fibers like wire and inorganic matrices like your gypsum, cement and other binders, salvage timbers and reuse of wood products like reusing older furniture and doors and windows is basically very advantageous. When we renovated our guest house, so we were having this all the old furniture. So we didn't dispose of them. There were one issues. One is to write off them, and so there were about near about 300 beds, tables, etc. What we did is we basically we thought that okay, we will reuse them all the whatever this, because wood was very good, old wood. It was almost known this thing. So so whatever could be recycled, we have in our own workshop. We modified them and like provided them almost very good look. If you go to any sort of a 4-star, 5-star hotel, also there you will find the similar type of a beds there also. So using this recycled sort of a wood also, we developed this thing. So thing is that I'm trying to say is that okay, what like when we call any material as a green material, so there also in building this thing furniture, going even your door frame, etc. So where whatever they were there to be reused, so we reuse them basically. So and those were this. So that is what we are looking into this. So products with low embodied energy, which are recycled materials like glass, crushed stones, trezzo, etc., or which are resource efficient finishes like your finished concrete flooring, ceiling tiles, ceramic tiles, etc., are much advantageous. This is what basically that the slabs, etc., in a police training school has been used, and these are actually natural stores like are available in our country, like your marble, granite, sandstone, slate, limestone, basalt, etc., in different places of the country, all over distributed in uniformly in our country in the different states. And if we use them, so I think we all know that okay, their life is almost very long, give you a very good aesthetic look, and directly procured from your site, basically this thing, and just you cutting and your this thing is required, which can be done at the site itself. So many advantages are there while using. This is what we are calling about the VOC vapors. So because for the ease of application, these paints people or they use some volatile organic content into your into your paint. So basically, in other countries, almost this VOC content has been, as per Codal provision, it has to be 0 or maybe less than 10. I think that is what the Codal. But in our country, for internal work, it said it should be less than 50. So whenever we go to buy a paint, I think it is compulsory right, what is the VOC content. So you must be careful that okay, its VOC content should be less than 50. So interior coating less than 50. For other this thing is 150. Exterior coating is 200, and anti-corrosive coating is this thing. Then another criteria, basically this we are looking for embodied point of view. This sort of this thing. So as I was saying in our building rating system given by Griha, IGBC, TERI, GEM, etc. So they have one of the parameters they have included into the rating system is the material efficiency. As I said, there are 5 parameters. One is the site selection, energy efficiency, water efficiency, material efficiency, and indoor air quality. So material efficiency is basically with the reference to your green building materials. So as per the Griha criteria, just for example, to take an example, I have taken one. So this covers this particular green material is covered under criteria 15. There are basically like site selection. There are 6 criteria under that also. There are energy efficiency. There are about 15 criteria. So each criteria carries some points, and you have to score those points depending upon what you have done at the site. And then if you say score total from 100, if you score more than 90, you get the 5-star rating or maybe platinum rating. If you are between 80 to 90, you get the 4-star rating or gold rating. If you are between 70 to 80, you can get that silver rating, then bronze rating, and below 60 points you go to. So minimum you have to get any sort of a 1-star of a minimum rating, you have to score about 60 points. So for green materials, 15% weightage is given here. Others get 85, but 15% weightage is for the green materials. So criteria 15, 16, 17, and 27 cover this particular point. So point allocation is 6 points criteria 15, 4 points criteria 16, 17 points criteria 17, and 27 points is one. That is a 15%. 100 on 100 scale, it is almost 15% points are there. So one of the criteria 15 says that utilization of fly ash in building. So use low embodied energy industrial waste fly ash as the construction material. So fly ash and industrial waste having the properties of cement and very low embodied energy is used in combination with cement that are highly rich in embodied energy. So fly ash has a very similar property that cement and a very low embodied energy, whereas cement as a building material is amongst the highest embodied energy. So there are 3 specs in this criteria: fly ash used in structural concrete, fly ash used in load bearing and load bearing walls, and fly ash used in plaster masonry and mortar. So basically structural concrete benchmark is you get that 1 point. More than 30%, additional 1 point. Building blocks 40% or more, if you have used them, it is 2 points. Brick masonry 15-30%, 1 point, and 30% or more is additional 1 point. The total 6 points are there if you are using this fly ash into your building. Then the criteria 16 is the reduced embodied energy of construction by adopting energy and efficiency technologies and low energy materials. So objective is to replace a part of energy intensive materials with less energy intensive materials, and or utilize regionally available materials which use low energy efficient technologies. The technologies should help reduce material consumption and more as compared to conventional RCC structure when you compare in relation to overall volume of the materials. So this particular criteria does not make into consideration use of fly ash to reduce quantities or of high energy intensive in structural and non-structural applications in the building. So structural system, if you are using this particular technology, you get up to 5%, you get 1.5 marks. And 2.5 to 5%, more than 5%, you get additional 1 point. Non-structural system, same criteria, you get additional 4 points here for using the low energy materials into your list. Similarly, criteria 17 says that okay, you use the low energy materials in interiors. So a minimum of 70% of the total energy of all the interior buildings and products used in each of the categories mentioned above should be low energy finishing material products which minimize wood as a natural resource or utilize industrial waste by using products in any category. So there are 3 aspects here also: sub-assembly, interior partition, interior wood finishes, paneling, false ceiling, inbuilt furniture and cabinets, flooring, then doors, windows and frames. So these 3 things are there, and if you are using them, so for sub-assembly, interior partition, ceiling, etc., 70% of the total, if you are using, you get 2 points. Flooring, you get 1 additional point. Door frames, window, you get 1 additional point. Here also you score 4 points. So this is how you score 15 points for the material efficiency in a structure. This is also there that use criteria 27 says basically it is under indoor air quality. So this criteria says you are using the paint which is having low VOC paints, sealants, adhesive, etc. So all those have a low VOC content in this there. So we already discussed this table. So that is what when we are looking for any say new construction techniques and all that also. So there we have to use a certain material. So those sorts of materials are to be used and manufactured so that they are durable materials. These materials can be easily separated from each other when demolition has to take place. Use of locally sourced materials, use of recycled materials, specifying standard sizes of materials, avoiding waste, and selecting materials that are manufactured using renewable energy sources. So basically, in our advanced materials, if we are using them, I think we must look all these properties. So we have discussed basically what are the advantages of using these materials into our construction. So Griha has given its own sort of a thing. So that is what energy efficient building materials benefits are. You get improved productivity, you get conservation of natural sources, you get use of agro-industrial waste byproducts, your costs are low, energy saving is there, greater flexibility is there, and a reduced environmental impact is there, then reduced maintenance operation cost is there in this particular this thing. So that is what, if you're using eco-friendly and this thing into our construction techniques, so there I think you are getting these advantages. So we have to look into this thing, because whenever we are knowing this thing, so we do not make any mistake. So that is what we ultimately we define our eco-friendly or green products as the products or services that have lesser or reduced effect on human health and the environment when compared with competing products or services that serve the same purpose. Describes a product that has been designed to do a least flexible damage to the environment. So summing again up the properties, like that material should be biodegradable, reusable, recyclable, adds energy efficiency in buildings, adds durability and lifespan of the building, increases, have reduced, have a reduction in the air, land and water pollution, locally available, embodied energy is less, reuse of the waste product is there, and renewable, made from the renewable source. So all those properties are given, are we are looking for any sort of a material which we are going to use in our construction. So and that is what we say that whatever the advanced material we are going to develop, it should have got all these properties. So there are, one is that renewable sources like wood from the certified forest, reuse of the waste, salvage products like your old plumbing, old frame, recycle content, agriculture or industrial waste, bagasse board, etc. So advantages, already we discussed that utilizing almost zero energy industrial waste to replace energy intensive material, reduction in the use of high energy materials such as cement, concrete, steel by absolute volume when compared with equal products for the same application. Effective saving in primary grade raw materials, cumulative embodied energy, labor and capital cost also. So life cycle cost is total discounted dollar cost of the operating, maintaining and disposing of a building or a building material over a period of time. Hello. क्लास में yes, hello. So So many of the even in structural material also, like uh, as I said, but one of our students has used this electroplating waste sludge for manufacturing bricks, pair blocks, etc. And got the patent also. Then one of the student has used this this foundry waste slag basically from this Mandi Converter Industries. That slag they were using is so that was crushed to that to the size of the fine sand and used as a replacement of the sand. So gave you a better much better properties as compared to the conventional concrete. Then geopolymer pair blocks have been made. Geopolymer bricks have been made by this thing. Even geopolymer concrete up to 90 strength, M90 strength has been made. And I was going through that one of the this thing is there into of CBRI Roorkee. So I have found them. They have constructed M40 grade of columns, M20 grade of slab building using M40 grade of column, and this thing slab M20 grade for constructing a building also of using the geopolymer concrete only. And then they have also used to constructed the panels road also. So road also for and which have been constructed in say Dadri for this I think NTPC plant there for NTPC unit. So one road, completely road using this geopolymer precast panels have been utilized by this particular. So still but a lot of people are working in this geopolymer concrete because there we are not using this natural resources like lime or oxides, etc., for which we use to manufacture cement, because cement is basically very cheaper. So if you are finding any alternative, cost wise, basically you have to see that how to adjust the cost and all that also. So there also we need to do some work. But when I am talking about this geopolymer concrete is almost equivalent to price of a clay brick. Even this construction cost also almost the same, but only disadvantage is this curing. So curing time is little higher. Natural curing time takes longer time. So now that work is also going on, that how to reduce the curing time of this particular concrete. Instead of taking say 28 days, it may take 60 days. So that disadvantage is there. So that is what basically we look into this sort of a thing. And so go for the life cycle assessment for a particular building. I think so. You have the cost effectiveness check and evaluate the cost of full range of products from the entire site complex to specific building component. So future industry needs is basically, I think construction industry is looking for the decision system for selecting environmentally responsible materials and construction techniques, which may include this modular energy, material life cycle, and energy costs in terms of environmental performance. So that is what our materials, when we are looking into say any construction material, any structural material, maybe concrete, and maybe bricks, or maybe finished other products. So we are looking into all these properties, and because we want to reduce our carbon footprints also, and at the same time we want a better service life also. So this is what has been made from the recycled ceramic tiles are there, recycled glass tiles are there, aluminum has been good, it's a fully 100% recyclable material. Wood is also recoverable, fly ash bricks, yes, made from the waste. This thing, terracotta tiles again made from the waste product. Steel is again made from the can be recycled 100%. Salvage materials, linoleum, agri fiber, etc., are finding the use. So 100%. This is the terracotta tiles, 100% almost recycled content. Metal scraps reduces the extraction of virgin materials used, upcycled into the decorative finish, great for countertops and the wall finishes. This is the natural terracotta tiles. Recycled glass, you can made lot of products from the recycled glass also. Even concrete, in the concrete also you can use the recycled glass also. So basically it consumes less energy than the double fire techniques used for the ceramic and porcelain tiles. Good, have a better property. So 100% of the glass is recycled in USA, diverts waste from the landfills. No off-gassing is there. Recycled glass tiles are considered very hygienic, and ease of cleaning and maintenance is there basically. So these are the recycled glass tiles. Fly ash, no need to discuss here once again. Fly ash bricks are there. Advantages we have already discussed. It has got a better structural properties. Thermal conductivity is much better. Compressive strength is almost comparable. Water absorption is less as compared to the clay bricks. So this is the fly ash bricks. This is the talking about one technology, a building completely constructed from the fly ash bricks only. Recycled ceramic tiles. So they are also cost effective for installation. Their high density and durability increases thermal storage capacity. High density limits the water mass, moisture absorption, etc. So better sort of this thing. So this is what good properties. Prevents generation of dirt and outdoors. Behave like electrical insulation, hygiene and anti-allergenic. Ease in final installation, more durability and fire resistant is there. Steel buildings, yes. Basically, in Europe, 55% of all the steel comes from the recycled steel only, and it saves up to 75% of energy. So basically, it is good for the engineer and architects who are looking for the sustainable design. This is the recycled steel. This is the one building in Germany which has been 100% made from the recycled steel only. Renewable energy. Already we have discussed that, okay, from a living tree or which is which can be reproduced. So material made from that also is basically called. So it is again have a advantages because your CO2 emissions are less and results in the biodegradable waste. So cost benefit analysis from these green materials. So if we are looking for this thing into the from environment point of view is the so energy saving in case of a 95%, air pollution 95%, cardboard 24%, glass 5 to 30%, 20% in the air pollution, paper 40%, and this 73% air pollution, plastic 70%, and steel is almost 60%. Energy saving is there if you are using this particular recycled material into this thing. Recycled wood also. Bamboo is a one good example of recycling material. So bamboo kitchen, house, dome. Agriculture Pfizer, we are using this MDF boards, etc. So they are finding the place in the construction. So linoleum is the one good product which is eco-friendly and which is again which is basically made from the linen oil, wood pulp, cork, and natural resin, etc. It is not adverse to the health effects. In relation to health benefit, the flooring is anti-static, reducing to the potential for electric shocks. It also makes easier to clean because it is a dust. So basically, it is a having the good scratch resistant, good strength, good fire resistant, good water resistance, and lesser maintenance is there in this particular type. Environmental impact wise, because it is giving you good so it is a very good, have a very less impact on the listener. So for row houses, we are saying that okay, you can use this clay tile roofing, corrugated sheets, prefabricated brick panels, precast cellular concrete roofing unit, precast plate floors, ferro cement roofing elements, fiber, etc. can be used. So this is what hollow blocks. We already discussed stabilized mud blocks, lime sand bricks, and lime sand bricks. This is the concrete base slag bricks, roofing material, and hollow bricks, lightweight concrete hollow panels, and glass fiber reinforced concrete panels. So this is the one technology given by the Seabury Roorkee, which they call is the pan roofing system, precast roofing system, EPAN, this thing. So basically what you do is it is precasted at the site only and then transported, laid on the rooftop and then screed, covered with a screed afterwards. So they are the techniques available like beams and floor slab, waffle grid slab, drop beam slab, flat slab, etc. are available for this thing. So beam and floor slab and different precast hollow floor units, precast concrete plank floor units. They are making this sort of a plank. Half the planks are casted at the side, and top one is basically finished after placing on the rooftop. Okay. These are the precast, similar precast beam and filler block floors. Waffle grid slab. This is what basically sort of this thing. I think you can use this sort of a system. Drop slab floor also. Technology is there. Flat slab plate floor. Prefabricated roofing components. We already said bricks bricks में आपको नीचे cast करके, and RCC beams can be can be casted and then placed on the top of this thing. So this is what joist and RCC. So you have the frame, you cast them here and lift them and place it on that. So for low cost housing works, so it is a better advantage than this thing. Precast RCC planks. Okay, you can cast them also, and they are also very good. This thing. This is the one you can cast. You can do them. Brick panels, precast brick panels. This is the one particular thing constructed with this. So very cheaper and good alternative materials. But I'm just going through it because most of the thing we have discussed. So you can precast panels for the sloping roof also. You can have a sort of this sort of a roof can also be constructed. This is the basically unreinforced pyramid brick roof. So it is suitable for coastal areas, corrosion cycle resistant, low cost and easy to construct, and a roof slab of burnt bricks, cement concrete without RCC, cement thing supported on RCC ring pin is suitable for 200 kg per square meter load and 250 km/h wind speed. So that is what we have already discussed it on Rajesh, so not going into details. So basically we have to look some alternatives which become part of the solution to the climate change. So that is what we are looking for, the eco-friendly construction techniques and materials. So thank you very much.
Participants, have you any question? Then you can ask your question to Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir. Any question from anyone?
Sir, I have one question.
Okay.
Sir, I would like to know that if we utilize the recycle aggregate from C&D waste, so what percentage of that recycle aggregate we can utilize as per our Indian code, and we can utilize for the high strength concrete recycle aggregate, we can use it or not?
I think there is no otherwise any for aggregate using recycle aggregate, there is no restriction. Most probably, I think if it is you are getting that aggregate and fulfilling your criteria of your 516 part one, whatever the part is there. Earlier it was 283 and for aggregate, and whatever basically your property you are getting, you can 100% replace them also. On fly ash there is a restriction 35%, but on aggregate, if you are able to use, only thing is that it should be like in that particular, you should bring it into that particular condition where it is fulfilling your other properties which are looking into your aggregate for using it like concrete.
Okay.
So because what I find is one of my students is also working on recycle aggregate. So what we find is probably the difficulty is when the motor is stick to it, how to reduce them. So we are using some sort of bacteria basically. Culture, this not bacteria, you may call them this what to call this we are procuring this microorganism from this culturing that sort of a cultured bacteria, you can call them. It's a cultured
Yeah.
bacteria which we use them, and we are trying to basically remove whatever the plaster, whatever the thickness is there. So that we are trying to remove and testing that particular other thing. But I don't find a sort of any restriction of percentage of using this recycled material into a thing. But yes, you are testing them. If you find them, you can replace 100% also, depending upon basically what of a property you are, what concrete grade you are trying to achieve, so that you can do that.
Okay. So we can utilize for high strength concrete also.
Yes, yes, you can utilize for high strength concrete also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone?
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, we are using the recycled aggregate and the post-consumer goods as replacements to aggregate, and we are using fly ash also as replacement to cement. But we are not taking into account the combined property of the combined aggregate or combined fine material when we look into the mixed design.
Yeah.
To what extent its influence would be there on the properties, sir, if the research is done
Your
in that aspect by anyone?
but I could understand is okay. You are asking because you are using both recycled aggregate also and recycled sand also.
Sir.
You are using because eco.
No, not that, sir. Let us say we are replacing certain part of the coarse aggregate with the recycled aggregate.
Okay.
But when we see the mixed design, we are not taking care of the recycled part of the aggregate. We are taking the properties of virgin aggregate.
Okay.
The combined properties are not calculated. The combined properties of the aggregate, properties of the combined aggregate.
Okay. Okay.
We are simply replacing it.
You are okay. Not taking into consideration. Okay, what is the combined effect of? What is the combined effect of your? Okay. Yes. So you are not basically looking into that. What is the combined effect of your this using say replacing the maybe you said 30% of good aggregate virgin aggregate with the recycled aggregate. Recycled aggregate. I think most of the people have worked basically on that aspect only, that 30%, 50% replacement, and they have basically achieved the required properties.
Sir,
so
my question is not that, sir, please.
Yeah.
My question is that we are determining the properties of the aggregate and substituting in the mixed design.
Okay, yeah.
So we are arriving at the ingredients. We are simply replacing either 10% or 20% or 30%, not accounting for the properties of the recycled aggregate that is going to make place in the virgin aggregate.
So basically, have you tested the properties of those recycled aggregates, or you are finding them? They are say their FM value or their crushing value is basically
yes, sir. Yes,
anywhere lesser than
these two. How to integrate these two properties, sir?
Okay, it is comparable, or it is you getting some different values.
Some difference is there, sir.
Some difference is there.
Water absorption, there will be difference.
Yeah.
And specific gravity, there will be difference. How to integrate these two properties of these two aggregates and arrive at the mixed design? Is there any such procedure, sir?
So according to me, basically, I think take a combined this thing, and then I think retest them basically if they are fulfilling this water absorption or other specific gravity capacity. Only then you can I think your procedure for the mixed design will go accordingly then. Because simply if you are not say test them combined, basically whatever the replacement you are doing, so that should be tested say combining, mixing them properly, and then testing.
Yes, sir.
So that should be done most probably.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Anyone? Anyone having any question? Thank you, sir. Now I would like to thank Dr. Sanjay Sharma sir for taking out time from his busy schedule and enlightening us with his valuable knowledge. Thank you so much, sir. I also thank you on the behalf of Civil Engineering Department, Jani Jal Singh Campus, College of Engineering and Technology, MRSPT Batinda. I also thank to all participants for their presence with us. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, and it's nice interacting with you, and thank you very much all the participants for listening patiently to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.